As a sailor, which knots should you learn next? I've got a couple suggestions. Hi, I'm Sailor Eric, and if you enjoy videos about sailing or boat maintenance, you have come to the right channel. Recently, I had the pleasure of joining Schooner Blue Clipper on a vacation excursion from St. Lucia to the Grenadines and back. While on that excursion, the anchor chain failed and the ship went adrift. How this adversity was handled is something I think is worth focusing on because any sailor can benefit to learn where an unforeseen circumstance is encountered. We'll examine some of the gear that was essential in handling this issue, and we'll also review some knots that were used in practice to heave the anchor chain off the bottom of the anchorage. Firstly, I want to mention that once the chain failed, having a dedicated tablet or device with GPS enabled and an anchor watch app running was essential to bringing this issue to the attention of the anchor watch and the captain. When daylight broke and a swimmer discovered where the anchor could be found, the working end of the line was swum down and fed underneath the anchor chain and then brought back up to the surface. The location of the line was relatively close to where the anchor itself lay. So at this point, the first mate and engineer were in a dinghy and they had both working ends of this line that went 25 feet down to the anchor chain and back up. They tied a bowline knot into one of the working ends. So this is a knot most sailors should know how to tie. You just create a loop or a bight in the line. You bring your working end through that bight and then underneath the standing part of the line, and then back over and through the bight or the loop which was created. And this results as you tension the knot into this little noose, which it's a telltale. You can tell that a bowline is properly tied when you see this little noose come through. And this is now a nice bowline knot, which is a very secure knot. You can use this as a halyard to raise the sail. You attach it to the head of the sail. You can attach it to a clew of a sail. You can use it as a safety line to connect your harness. A bowline knot is considered a very secure knot. It's extremely unlikely, expected not to come out. So now that they had this working end with a loop in it, they took the other working end, which did not have a loop in it, but this one does, right? But we are going to pretend that it doesn't. And they just basically worked this bowline knot down into the water and down to the chain. And so now they had the chain effectively lassoed where that bowline knot had worked its way all the way down to the chain itself. With this working end that they had up on the surface, they tied a floatable device to it, just a buoy in essence. So now the anchor is marked. They know exactly where it is and they can just follow that line down to get to the anchor chain. If you liked the episode so far, please press that like button for this video. Once the chain's location was established, the next step was to find the extreme end of the chain and fasten a line to that. Two lines were used for that purpose. A small diameter line was used, which was chosen because it was expected to fit within the anchor chain lengths. The line ran down near the end of the chain, fed through a link, and was brought back up. Again, a bowline was applied. Right? Just like that, the bowline was tied into this end, and then the other working end was fed into the bowline. And because this line was in a chain link, it established a good hold on that chain. A larger diameter line was then also run down and rigged in similar fashion. Though that line was simply run underneath the chain and brought back to the surface, then the bowline was tied and secured in similar fashion to the other line. Again, bring that bowline up through the standing part, back down, and then tighten. And now that we have the tension, then run the other working end through and work that down. The working ends of the second and third lines were then brought to the ship through a hawser. They were then subsequently tied to a larger diameter line, which was used from the ship to haul the anchor chain. The knot I believe that was used was a double sheet bend. Let me show you that now. I've got this larger diameter line, which we're going to pretend is now on the ship, and we're going to use this line to haul up the working ends of the lines that are attached to the anchor. So to tie a double sheet bend, we're going to bring these two working end lines through this bite that we just created in this larger line. And you can see I've got the working end next to the standing end. And I'm going to take these two lines, and now I'm going to basically loop the standing and working end of the original line. And I'm going to loop it once, and I'm going to just basically take it through and loop it again a second time. All right. And now that only needs to be tensioned. And you can see I've now got a double sheet bend. And this is the line, this was the knot that was used to haul the anchor out of the water. The anchor chain was then hauled up to the surface, leveraging these lines held together with the double sheet bend. Once up on the surface, the working end of the anchor chain from the ship was linked to the length hauled up with a shackle. Once connected, the lines were loosened and untied, and the anchor was from that point forward controlled from the ship's windlass and ready for reuse. There was an additional knot that was taught to me by one of the young crew members aboard Blue Clipper, which he considered exceptional for tying two lines of different diameters together. It was the Fisherman's bend, which is very simple to grasp once shown, so I'll demonstrate it for you now. So you take two lines and run them together. You can see the working end of one is over here, the working end of the other is over here, and I'm running them parallel to each other. I'm going to split this length in half, and I'm going to start by taking one of the ends and I'm going to wrap it around itself in the other line. Once, twice, and now I'm going to work this through. I'm going to take the working end of the line and bring it through the two wraps. And you can see now that that is tight. And now I'm going to do the same thing here with this other end of the line. I'm going to bring it around itself in the working end of the other line once, twice, and I'm going to pull it out the original side and tension it. And what should happen now is that we can lock this. We can pull these two together and see how those two are very symmetrical looking, and they tighten up on one another. This is a Fisherman's bend. For a little more security, you can add one wrap on each side for, I think it's called a triple Fisherman's bend or a triple loop Fisherman's bend. And that just adds more security and greater tightness to it. So I found this to be useful. Again, the sailor that showed it to me said he's used it to attach two ends of unlike size diameter lines in a pinch, and he found it held great. There are other knots that I find useful on board a sailboat, such as a rolling hitch, a cleat hitch, or a clove hitch. Each have their particular use cases, but are beyond the scope of today's episode. I want to say thank you to my subscribers for supporting this channel. I really appreciate you, and thank you all for watching.